Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you will stand, if you're not already standing, and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation tonight given by Mayor Bill Gillespie, Jr. Salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mayor.
Thank you, and bow your heads with me. Dear Lord, you are our strength. By your grace you have brought us together. By your grace you will guide us. By your grace you will sustain us. And by your grace you will lead us home safely. So now we pray that by your grace you will help us one and all to be wise stewards and enable us to speak, to help us move this city forward and help us realize how blessed we really are. Through your grace you will guide our thoughts and our tongues and our hearts. We pray this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councilman Striplin.
Here.
Councilman Wood.
Here.
Councilman Argo. Councilman Miller.
Here.
Councilman Reniger.
Here.
Councilman Bowles.
Here.
Councilman Fank.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll call the meeting officially to order. The character trait of the month is contentment, enjoying life as it comes. Rather appropriate. Fellow council members, you should have received minutes from the public hearing and the City Council meeting from October the 18th, 2011. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve these minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Moved by Councilman Bowes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Wood. Is there any discussion about the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Before we get into comments from persons present regarding tonight's agenda, I want to announce that I am going to ask the council to hold items number 2, excuse me, it's not 2, different agenda. Items number 3 and 4, which pertain to the proposed budget and the extension of the sales tax, until our next regularly scheduled meeting on November the 15th. And I am calling a work session for next Tuesday night, November the 8th at 6 p.m. right here in the council chambers, so the council can discuss the concerns and any adjustments that need to be made to the proposal from the Finance Committee. I would remind you, even though you probably don't need to be reminded, that we are a representative style government. These people were elected by you to represent you, so please take that time to communicate with us, your council representatives, and express your concerns to us, make your suggestions to us. We all have telephones, we all have email, some of us have Facebook, some of us even accept a tweet or two. So I would encourage you to contact your council member if you have a concern about these two items before next Tuesday night at our work session. For a point of clarification, I'm going to ask one of our members of the Finance Committee, Councilman Albert Striplin, to give you a brief overview on how we came to the numbers that we're proposing on the proposed budget. The council committee is made up of Councilman Wood, Councilman Striplin, and myself, but Councilman Striplin is the author of this budget, and I applaud his efforts and the amount of time that he spent in making these preparations and doing the research. Councilman Striplin.
Thank you, sir. This process began on October the 18th when we received
what we thought was the end-of-year financial information on as of September 30th, 2011. Question was asked, was all the information in and everything included? Knowing that it probably would be January before we finally get the true actual final numbers, but we were given some level of assurance that everything was in. That information at that time showed that in comparing the new proposed budget from the mayor, there was a $3.29 million increase. And this was without an $816,000 increase that was proposed for the combined budgets of wastewater and sanitation. Our discussion basically is limited to the general fund only. The Finance Committee made no recommendations or changes to the enterprise funds which we proposed for wastewater and sanitation. Of the $3.29 million increase, $538,700 or 17% was allocated according to the budget going to fire. $670,000 or 21% was going to the police department. So 38% of this proposed increase was going to public safety. At that time, the budget also showed that we had not paid $44,500 in city-county services that we had said we would pay. $367,486 was owed to initiatives, that community initiatives, which the city of Prattville has historically supported. That totals about $412,000. At that time, we also owed $1,568,000 in accounts payable. And unfortunately, we're on COD with several vendors. We owe $1,699,000 to the employee group health plan. We owe $1 million in a revolving loan that has been fully drawn and has been outstanding longer than I've been here. And we were informed that we'd need to borrow at least $1.5 million to help pay debt of $2.9 million that was due today. So on September the 30th, we knew that a minimum of $6.179 million and maybe as much as $6.67 million would be owed. Seeing a $3.209 million increase in the budget and needs of $6.179, it seemed prudent to work towards meeting our debt obligations. Finance Committee met on Thursday evening, October the 20th, and worked on addressing the debt issue, reviewing the budget suggestions and recommendations from council members, and began forming a revised proposed budget. At no time during that meeting or subsequently did the Finance Committee recommend any reduction in workforce. On Wednesday, October the 26th at 11 a.m., I was informed by Mr. Mosley that the end-of-year figures presented at our last council meeting were not completely accurate. The savings would be smaller due to not accruing the last monthly payroll. This news required a more extensive review of line items. When completed, the information presented to Mr. Mosley was that personnel costs were higher than where each department ended the year. However, holiday costs were inadvertently omitted. Thus, a difference of $208,763 for the fire department, in my opinion, should be added back into the budget, and $32,236 should be added back into the police department budgets. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Striplin. For the sake of conservation of time and to make sure that everybody that wants to be heard is heard, I'm going to ask one of our staff members, Ms. Teresa Lee, to run a clock. I'll give you 5 minutes to state your case, make your comments, and then I will give you a 30-second warning when it reaches 4 minutes and 30 seconds so you can wrap up. If you want to stay at the end of the agenda after this area of public hearing is exhausted, we'll open it back up at that time for any additional comments. I ask those of you who wish to address the council to put your name on the sign-up sheet, and Mr. Tommy Brown is the first. Is Mr. Brown still here? Mr. Brown? If you'll come to the microphone, please, and state your name. And
I got to add myself. I don't need to say anything right now. Let me put the video away.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mark Rhodes. Mr. Rhodes? Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Appreciate the
give us your-
quick time. I'll get right into it. Mark Rhodes, 1583 Upper Kingston.
Thank you.
Firefighter here for 12 years. I don't quite understand the change of all this stuff, so I'm going to go forward and you can just shut me up when you need to. But we're here to talk about this money that we're talking about cutting. Mr. Striplin, I agree, and I understand that there's a lot of numbers out there are not solid about stuff, but that's not on us. We know that you're not offering up to get rid of firemen and policemen. But when you go to these department heads and you tell them they have X amount of dollars to give, when we have given all that we can give, there's nothing left for them to do but take care of employees or get rid of employees. So saying that you don't want to get rid of them is not dismissing that. You're asking for the money that we do not have. And when you do that, you're putting my life and these citizens' life in jeopardy. And that is a fact. Because I have been to the schools, Chief Brown has been to the schools, and we need these people. And if there's got to be cuts to be made, that's not the place to do it. If you're talking about $250,000 or $500,000 cuts, from Mayor Gillespie right across this table, there's $250,000 right up there. I'd ask you as a citizen employee, don't take that time away from me. And I say that by definitely not to get that response, but that's a fact. I've been in the houses. I've saved some of the lives. I don't remember seeing any of y'all next to me down there in that building that was just burned down. Don't tell us about how to run a fire department. Let that man right there do it. He's been to the schools. We trust him. He knows what he needs to do. You've taken from us all that we can take. You on the Finance Committee, the arrogance that y'all would not take the time to talk to me, Mr. Reniger, mainly you. We have met with this man and the Human Resources 4 times. It's come out of my pockets to pay that attorney back there to get our money back. And that's a fact. You have taken from us, the firemen online, more than anybody in this city. You told us when you made the furlough cuts that you would be equal across the board. Fact, you didn't. I've talked to Mayor Gillespie. They've given us the time to talk to us. Miss Lisa Thrass has taken the time to talk to us. Mr. Reniger, you wouldn't give us the time of day. But yet, when I had the meeting right out there, you had the time to come afterwards. That insults me because I'm a 12-year city employee. I deserve the right to at least speak to you through my chain of command the proper way. Yes, I'm the union president, and we will always take the higher road. But it's time for y'all, the 7 councilmen, the mayor, y'all pick up the dime. We don't have anything left. There's about $250,000 sitting right up there. I ask y'all to not take another paycheck for the rest of your term and then let the citizens vote. I want to thank our chief that has worked extremely hard. Thank you, Chief Brown. I know he's got my back. I know he's not going to put me in a situation that jeopardizes my life, because I got a daughter and a wife I want to go home to. So when y'all sitting at home, I'm working. And that's what these signs say. This is not a protest. This is a wake-up call. Let us help. I'm a pretty smart fella. We got a heck of a lot of smart people in the fire department. Y'all might need some help, because obviously we way in debt. I didn't do it. And don't blame it on the economy. We beat that horse to its dead. This is the city of Prattville. You're talking about taking our holidays. We know we don't believe everything in the paper. The state's getting 2 more. I think 4 or 5 of y'all work for the state. Y'all about to get 2 more holidays. And you're taking 3 away from me? That's money. That's money out of my pocket. I worked too hard for it. Please stop and listen to all of us.
30 seconds.
That's enough. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Any questions from the council? Councilman Bowes.
Mr. Rhodes, thank you. I know it's not easy doing what you do. I know it's not easy standing up here in front of your peers. And I'm telling you, before I vote on laying off firemen and policemen, I'll give it up. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for all the work you do.
Mr. Mike Rogers is next on the list. Mr. Rogers.
Thank you for the chance to speak. I'm Mike Rogers. I'm residing at 1338 Highway 14 East. That's just temporary while I build my house at 502 Weatherby Trail. So I'm not going to sit here and echo what Mr. Rhodes has already brought up. I think, as you can tell from the people out here, the sentiments are the same. What I would like to bring up is I'm not real sure and clear why in the city of Prattville, across the state and across the nation, every time there talks about being cuts made, it's always in public safety. Maybe it's because we're the highest budget, but there's a reason that we're the highest budget, because we're the most highly trained and we're the professionals that serve these citizens out here that you see. And we serve you as well. I think what the people are tired of is all the political games that are played. And it puts these citizens at risk. It puts me at risk as a firefighter. You think it's bad when you get a call, and I'm sorry, I hope there's not a Miss Smith in the crowd, but when Miss Smith calls because her trash didn't get picked up on time, and you get that call, wait till you get a call from Miss Rogers because her husband was burned in a house fire because there wasn't enough people out in the yard to go in and save him when he got trapped. Wait till you get that call. There's too many political games that are being played. And I know for a fact, some of y'all sitting up here right now, you're disappointed and you're a little mad because that man's sitting right there. And some of y'all aren't. Well, I can tell you the political games because I experienced the political games firsthand this summer. I was disappointed when I wasn't able to sit right there. But I don't get mad about it, and I don't come to work every day trying to undermine what he's doing. I respect that man even though I lost to him, and every day I go to work, I give him 100%. And I give these citizens 100%, and I give y'all 100%, and I give him 100% because I'm a professional, and that's what I do. What we're asking you to do is do the same thing. Step up, be a man, quit being mad, give that man 100%, give these people out here 100% every time you come to work. Show up for council. I can't understand when we pick department heads, there was a councilman that wasn't here. And now we're voting on the budget and there's a councilman that's not here. I have to sign a piece of paper at the fire department that says that if I work off time, I am responsible for being at work. And they want to know what I'm doing on my off time, and I have to be there at work. My off time can't interfere with that. I can't understand why y'all can't be held to the same standard. Quit playing the games. If we want to be the preferred community, then let's act like the preferred community. And that starts with your public safety. And I think all these people out here will attest to that. Thank you.
Next person is Mr. Jason Ogletree. Mr. Ogletree.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Jason Ogletree, live at 958 Wright Street, and I'm a 16-year veteran of the Prattville Fire Department. I know most of y'all don't know me, but Mr. Bowles, I've grown up with him, so I know him very well. First of all, I'd like to say I've been here for 35 years of my life I've spent in Prattville. And I've watched this city grow, almost double in size, and y'all are trying to take away, cut jobs from people. There's people out here, we can barely cover the coverage we got right now with the folks we got. We're losing folks. We've already lost 7 this year. And y'all want to take more away, put more citizens at risk, put me at risk, put my family at risk, and we're not going to have it. First of all, if y'all think that any one of y'all are going to sit in those chairs come next year without me doing something about it, you're thinking wrong. I will go door to door in every neighborhood that I have to. I will shake hands. I will talk to every business owner that I know. And believe me, I know a lot of people in this city. And I will talk to everybody. And I will make sure that if, on my last breath, that y'all will not sit here if y'all don't straighten it up. Period. This police department, this fire department, they deserve more respect than that. We have worked too hard to build this department up, to build this city up, and get it where it is. Y'all live in a safe, wonderful city because of us, not y'all. Y'all can sleep at night because of us, not y'all. And I don't know the numbers and I don't know the money, but I know people. And I want y'all to act like good people and stop sitting up there and pretending like y'all are leaders. Be leaders. Thank you.
Mr. Mark Alford. Mr. Alford.
Hello, I'm Mark Alford, 1416 Indian Hills Road. Just ask y'all if y'all would please reconsider laying off firemen. We're already down. We don't need any more. As you can tell with the people here, enough is enough. So please, just reconsider it. There's other ways of finagling the money if it comes down to that. Just ask you to reconsider, please. That's all I got.
Any questions from Mr. Alford? Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot read this gentleman's last name. Jared Mowers? Manners?
My name is Jared Manners. I currently reside at 114 Odell Street.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all's time. I just encourage y'all, please reconsider this. Those of us that, many of us that actually are firemen are not only firemen, we're also citizens. We're citizens that are actually serving the citizens. Okay. Next, there's times that I wonder, do you guys actually know what all we do? I know that y'all see it, and I know that y'all hear about it. I know that y'all have, tons of people calling y'all, thanking y'all. I've had 2 neighbors come over this week to my house. Thank you. You know, the fire department, you guys came out a year ago, cut me out of a vehicle when I was hanging on the last string of death. Okay. You cut me out of a vehicle. Okay. You got me to where I need to be. You saved my house. Okay. Not only that, hey, you came and you performed CPR on my wife. There was nothing that could be done, but you know what? You did it with the best of your ability and all of your ability, even though it was 4 o'clock in the morning. You came out and you did your job. We serve y'all very, very well. We put our lives on the line daily. If there's any doubt, I encourage you, come out, get on a fire truck with us, get in a police car with us, come see what is actually done daily by your fire, EMS, and police department. I promise you, you will be ultimately surprised at what a great job they perform. And I guarantee you, it's stated quite often, we're one of the top in the state. Let's keep it that way. And the only way that we're going to keep it that way is if we keep the numbers that we need. Because when you start pulling numbers, you're going to put my life on the line. You're going to start putting these police officers' lives on the line. And you're going to start putting my fellow firefighters on the line. And when you start doing that, you not only have unhappy employees at that point, you're going to also have unhappy families that are going to start coming and looking at you for answers when they're woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Your husband, your daddy, your son is not coming home in the morning. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Mr. Nolan Watkins. Mr. Watkins.
Good evening, Councilman.
Good evening.
Mayor Gillespie. Nolan Watkins, live at 1952 Calumet Parkway in the Hollybrook subdivision. I work for the police department. I know right now some of my supervisors are going, oh, Lord, what's fixing to come out of his mouth? But I've learned a few things. I've been here with the police department for about 14 years. When I first started, gung-ho, get out. Ain't nobody getting away with out of a speeding ticket. You're getting a ticket no matter what. You're going to jail no matter what. Over the years, you learn a few things. You become a little bit wiser. Not everybody's got to get a ticket. Not everybody's got to go to jail. You make those decisions. You make wise decisions over time. And the same thing goes with the city council sometimes. If you've been here a while, you make wise decisions. When you first get hired on the council or voted onto the council, you want to go out there, man, I'm going to pass everything. I'm going to cut that budget. The thing about it is when you start cutting that budget, these faces lined up out here on the wall and sitting out here in the crowd, that's who you're writing a ticket to. You don't have to. 3 o'clock in the morning when it's raining, it's pouring down, it's 20 degrees outside. Everybody's in bed. Who do you think's out directing traffic because the power lines are down? Right here. 2 o'clock in the afternoon when you got a possum running loose in Winn-Dixie. And you know I'm not lying. Who do you think they call to come get that possum out of Winn-Dixie? Or 2 o'clock in the morning when some of these police officers are chasing the car burglars through your front yard while you're in there sleeping. If we lose these officers and we lose these firefighters, that burglar's just going to run through your front yard and then he's going to break into your house. If we don't have the people on the street, that's going to continue. And over the years, Prattville's had the economic gains and stuff like that to provide the citizens of Prattville with that luxury, to have these firefighters out here and to have these police officers in town. When things started getting bad, gentlemen, we started taking furloughs and pay cuts. Nobody jumped ship. We had a few that left. But for the most part, all these guys and all these ladies out here, they stayed. You know why? It's because we like working for the city of Prattville. We like working for the citizens of Prattville. We not make everybody happy. I mean, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen every day. But the thing about it is these people stayed. It's because we believed in you. And when it comes down to a situation like this to where we may be losing 10 of our brothers and sisters from the police department and maybe some from the fire department, as many as 15 is what the rumor is. Not only are you hurting us, it's these people sitting out here in these council chambers that you're hurting. because those police officers are not going to be there to chase that burglar down through the front yard, take him to jail. And these firefighters are not going to be there when somebody's grandmother gets hurt, she can't get up out of the bathroom floor because she fell. Or when we have to go out to an elderly female's house on Durden Road, and some of you know who I'm talking about, and make her a peanut butter sandwich and fix her some ice water and put ice or put water back in her tray and put it back in her freezer. Because she has nobody. She has us. I mean, that's what this job is about. I mean, that's why a lot of these people take this job, because we like working in Prattville. I mean, if we didn't, we would have left when all the furloughs came, but we didn't. We took it in stride. But the thing about it is, if we lose these firefighters and police officers, the citizens of Prattville are going to be the ones who are going to be losing out on this. Because we got a bunch of dedicated people that work for the fire department, police department, sanitation. If we lose these people, the Prattville citizens are going to be the ones that are going to be losing out. So, gentlemen, I mean, do what you got to do. Like I said, when you first get voted into council, everybody thought, oh, man, I'm fixing to pass this budget, got to keep the voters happy and stuff like this. But the longer you're there, the more wiser decisions you make. And, gentlemen, this is a wise decision that you need to make, not to cut this budget to where we lose these people. Thank you.
I've known you for a long, long time. We were in high school together. He was a couple of years older than me and used to pick at me all the time. I think he even had a crush on my sister at once. But I want to tell you, amen. Lord knows if they could have thrown me off this council when I first came on, I believe I'd have been booted immediately because I made some really stupid moves. It's a growing experience up here. And I really appreciate you pointing that out. That was words of wisdom. Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. John Lee. Mr. Lee. Good evening.
Evening. John Lee, 819 Cottage Lane. I work with the police department.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I don't know how far you want to go with these cuts, but I want you to think about some figures. If you don't already know it, we already have fewer police officers per citizen than Montgomery or any of the other area law enforcement agencies. We're below the national average. I'm an investigator. I talk to other investigators in other departments who are in situations you don't want us to get in. I start following up on suspects and leads that's in their jurisdictions. And when they find out what kind of case I'm working, because it's a white-collar type crime with no violence involved, and they kind of laugh. And I say, what's up? They say, I wish we had time to work those cases. I said, what do you mean? He said, when we get those reports, if there's not a solid lead on the back of that report, they don't get followed up on properly because they just don't have the time. The citizens here deserve the quality that we're giving them, and we're doing all we can to keep that quality level at where it's at and where it's been. But you can only stretch the rubber band so tight. Now, we are stressed out. We are overworked. We got patrol officers that can't even hardly take vacation time because there's so much redlining going on because it's just we're trying to maintain the quality we've been at. I've spoken with the chief. He's stressing and pulling his hair out trying to figure out how we're going to maintain with what we got now. That's not even to consider losing anybody else. Now, the mayor has got a budget proposed. Pass this man's budget. We support the mayor's budget. He's worked hard on this budget. He's got a fair budget. The mayor understands we didn't get here overnight, and it's going to take time to get out. But let's be patient and stick together and use common sense. Now, you live in Prattville and you enjoy living in Prattville. I'm not going to name names of other cities in the area, but if you want to go there and you want Prattville to be there, just march on. But now there's only so far we can go. I mean, I love working at Prattville, and all the rest of these guys do too. And another thing, These new officers that we got, these young officers, these are the best officers I have ever seen. These guys are way sharper than when I started. I'm telling you, they're better than I was when I started out. They're more educated, and they are fine professionals. They've got families. They've got children. They want to stay on here, and they're doing a fine job, and I want them to stay on here. Same with the fire department. We got one of the finest fire departments anywhere. But we don't have any fat to cut. I mean, it's just the bottom line. I mean, we're not up here because we got nothing better to do. We're not up here standing in front of you guys risking, I hope, no retaliation, but sticking our necks out just a shade. If nothing's going on that's serious here, this is serious. That's all I got, unless y'all got some questions for me.
Any questions for Mr. Lee? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Mr. Josh Brown. Mr. Brown? See him coming from the back there.
Josh Brown, 1721 County Road 57.
Yes.
I've been with the fire department for about 18 years. I chose to come to work with the Prattville Fire Department because it was the best in the state. Simply. That was it. We had our recruit schools. We had a good group of firefighters, and we were highly trained. I want to keep it that way. That's it.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Mr. David Coleman. Is Mr. Coleman here? Also coming from the back there.
David Coleman, 526A West 4th Street. Council, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
We can't balance our budget just on cuts alone. That's not going to work in Montgomery, Alabama. It's not going to work in Washington, D.C. Sooner or later, we're going to wake up as citizens and figure that out. I think we've asked our city employees to share enough of this pain with us, and it's time some of us are going to have to share some more of the pain. I work out at a paper mill. We had a 6,000-pound I-beam about a month ago shifted and fell on one of my fellow union brothers, pinned him against a piece of equipment. They got some construction workers to get a crane, get it off of him. They looked, our paramedics looked at him. They gave me the call Prattville. Call Prattville. And within 10 minutes, 5 of the finest men with a gurney I'd ever seen came rolling in that mill. I don't know what station they came from. But we need them. We need all of them. We need more of them, really. So we're willing to help y'all pull this great city out of the ditch. We didn't get here overnight. There's no sense us beating a dead dog of overbuilding Prattville and the economy crash and all that stuff. But I support the mayor's budget, and I would appreciate if y'all would give it some more consideration.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Coleman? Thank you, sir. There's another Mr. John Lee on the... Oh, okay. Sorry, you can't have a second bite at the apple. Not right now, anyway. Miss Allison Gray. Good evening, Ms. Gray.
Honorable Mayor Gillespie, Mr. President, members of the council. I keep on. I'm going to get real good at this. I live at 1698 Old Country Road. There's a lot, the emotions are real high in here tonight. I didn't know all this was going to happen. I'm glad that it is. But it's nothing compared to the emotion that you're going to see when the citizens of Prattville realize that they are not as protected as they think they are. I went to a budget committee meeting, first one I've ever attended, very informative, learned a lot, learned mostly that I didn't know very much, but that's not my job to know that. I need to know it as a citizen. I need to be informed, and I will be. And I listen, you know, I've seen some of Mayor Gillespie's budget, and I'm real nervous. Can y'all tell I'm nervous? I don't like having to do this. But y'all need to pass that budget. You need to either pee or get off the pot. I mean, enough is enough. And you don't need to make any cuts to public safety. I've been telling you that for a month now, or 6 weeks, or 2 months. I don't remember. And you guys need to realize, you know, we forget 9/11. We've all become very complacent. And we think it's never going to happen again. So we don't, when we talk about cutting budgets for public safety, I get a little nervous because it could happen again. And what's going to happen if we don't have the people trained and in place to take care of whatever we need taken care of? And like I said, you think these emotions are high in here tonight? You ain't seen nothing yet until the citizens find out. And when that happens, it's going to get real nasty, real fast. I'd hate to see that happen. Y'all know better than to do this. It's not the citizens' fault that this happened, that this budget crisis happened. That makes me more nervous. But, you know, guys, y'all were here. It was under your watch. If you have to keep the 1 cent sales tax for the next 3 to 5 years, I don't care. Keep it. Do something, but don't take any more, not one more dime out of public safety or public services. It all is all about being the preferred community, which is what we are and why most of us live in Prattville. I don't know what else to say to you. I don't know what else to say to get the point across. I have a big mouth and I can run it really good, and maybe that's what I need to do. I don't know. Maybe I need to start talking to people. I don't know. Maybe I need to buy a house in town and run for city council. I mean, no, I'm not slamming on any of y'all. I know most of you. Some of you are my friends. But, you know, it's time to do something. It's time to fix it. And not on the backs of public safety. Am I through? I talked that long?
Got 30 seconds.
Oh, I'm through.
Okay. Any questions of Ms. Gray? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Mr. Jose Perez. Mr. Perez.
Hi, Jose Perez, live in Holly Brooks. I got 2 businesses in the city limit of Prattville. one in by Highway 14 and the other one all the way to Pine Level.
Mr. Perez, you can move that microphone up if it'll make you more comfortable. There you go.
Can you hear me? A little slow, I can hardly speak in English. Anyway, what I'm trying to say, I mean, the Prattville Police Department and the Fire Department, I've been here since '96. My business never got robbed yet. We had a fire next to my business not so long ago. When Michael burned down, the firemen, they came and they turned it off quick. They saved my business. When I used to be in Montgomery, we got robbed like 4 or 5 times. Thank God that haven't happened in Prattville yet because we got good public safety like the police department. So, unfortunately, when I have any problem, I can call on the phone, any police officer. They take time, they listen to me, even if they don't care, but they still listen. So, please, let's try to keep what we have, and let's try to work with Bill Gillespie. I mean, when Bill Gillespie got elected, he came to a big mess. The mama me, I don't know how the hell he got it. And some of you, instead of working with him, all you guys do is pushing him. So let's give a man a chance. Thank you.
Any questions of Mr. Perez? It's all right. I don't think anybody has any questions.
And leave my staff alone. Don't say no immigration department.
Okay. The last name that I have on this list is Can I have a little attention so I can announce the next person? Thank you. Last person on the list is Mr. Mickey McDermott. Mr. McDermott. Coming from the back. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, thank you. Give me a moment of your time. As the last speaker, I have a question for you and I have a question for the audience. As the sign-in sheet indicates, I'm the attorney by choice and by blessing for the Prattville Police Officers Association. You might call it in short the Prattville Police Union. For those of you who are first responders, I was a first responder. That's how I worked my way through law school. I took an oath. Did you take an oath?
Mr. McDermott.
And I will. And
you need to address the council, please.
I will, Your Honor, if I may have just a moment of latitude. These, ladies and gentlemen, if you took an oath as a police officer, a first responder, a firefighter, you took an oath to protect these men and these citizens with your very lives. I asked you, if you took that oath, raise your hand and tell me and tell these ladies and gentlemen, would you lay down your life for them? Would you lay down your life for the citizens? Our Lord Jesus said that no man has greater love than to lay down his life for another. And if that's the case, then your decision is difficult. We understand that. This night has been long. And as the last speaker, I simply want to show you that these men and women are willing to lay down their lives for you. All we're asking is to balance a budget for them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, do you have a report?
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, audience, for coming out tonight. And I can tell definitely that there's a lot of emotion in the air and that to me, it just proves how much that each and every one of us actually loves this community that we call home, we call Prattville. I also want to say that I value all of our employees, no matter which department that they come out of. I hope that this event will pull all of our employees together. I know it has definitely electrified the police and the fire department, but I really hope that we can pull something positive out of this. But I just really want to thank each and every one of the departments. I know out of all the little speeches that I've given and whenever I've gone out into the community, I've always started off talking about what I call our big five, because that's the in my belief, the basic services, the critical services that a municipality is supposed to provide. And I've always started off with wastewater, sanitation, streets, police and fire, and not trying to be controversial as far as starting that list, but they are all very vital. I also want to mention HR, our IT department, our finance department, our urban management, creative arts, our vehicle maintenance, judicial, engineering, planning, and there might be a department I left out of there, but I do hope that they'll forgive me. But they are a big part of our city, and they are also a big part of our economy. And I just really want to say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of these employees that work and are dedicated to us. And I do value their services, and I hope that I'm one of the few people that has had a house fire, but several years ago I did have a house fire, and I know that they came in and they're a very professional group, just like our wastewater and our sanitation departments, and I really, really appreciate them coming forth and being able to view their opinion. And I guess that's what really makes the United States of America as great as it is that we can come together and work our differences out. And I truly believe that's how we'll end up with this, is that we will find a common ground, we will find a common goal, and I look forward to working with you guys, the City Council, and also all the city employees over the many years to come. Moving on to some of our business that we have in front of us, though, because I know that's one of the issues that one of our jobs that we have before us is to do city business. But tonight, I know on resolution on our agenda, we have resolutions number 3 and 4 from the podium here. I'm not even going to talk about those. I'm going to wait until that work session is brought up. I'll have more information on that at that point in time. But and look forward to that work session and hope that that we have a good turnout on that, because that is one thing I've always encouraged, is everybody to get involved with your local government, the grassroots efforts there. And that's one of the things that actually led me to run for council and then eventually become mayor of this great city, is just trying to give back to the city, to the community, to our citizens. One thing I am going to bring up on the positive note is that on resolution number 6, that's a resolution that has come out of our creative arts department. It got spurred because of a committee that I asked Kelly Cook, our creative arts department, to pull together. It's common knowledge that the city of Prattville has been struggling financially. Fortunately, we have a lot of great citizens that live inside the city limits, live right outside the city limits in the police jurisdiction, and then live on further on out in the county. And they all come in to Prattville to participate in a lot of the events that we have, to buy various items at different stores that equate to sales tax revenue for the city of Prattville. But at the time that we were really trying to crunch a budget together, it was a little bit on the unlikely side that we're going to be able to pull it together and still have our 4th of July parade and our 4th of July fireworks. But I asked Kelly Cook, our creative arts director, to pull together a committee. And through that committee, Council President Reniger sat on that committee, and some of our various people out here in the crowd sat on that committee. But Kelly Cook was able to pull that together and raised approximately $23,000. So that way we made certain that our parade continued that year. We made certain that the fireworks continued that year, which to me is one of the quality of life things that I don't know. That year it seemed to be a lot brighter. The fireworks seemed to be a lot louder, and I don't know if it was just because I know I worked a lot harder with it that year. I donated some of my own money in there, $500 if I'm not mistaken. But it just seemed to be so much better. Maybe it was the weather. Maybe it was just, I truly believe it's just the fact that I was able to get in there and say that this possibly would not have happened if it hadn't been for me working with that committee, along with you, Councilman Mike Reniger, Kelly Cook, and all the other people who stood up around Prattville and donated and gave, and we're able to celebrate our World War II veterans who had given so much for that great cause. And I think it's so ironic that we just have Veterans Day is right around the corner. I'm speaking about this. But anyway, that is just one area that I think that makes Prattville so great. That is one of the areas that quality of life programs that were given back. And it's, I guess where I'm really going with this is that where we do need the police, we do need the fire, we do need the wastewater, we do need the sanitation department, we do need the street department. We need all of them to make Prattville what it is. Recently, we had a ribbon cutting out here at Medline, and as I went out there and I talked with the CEO from Medline, which is from a northern state, and he came down here, and I told him, I said, where Prattville has a lot of its own buildings, a little bit unique compared to a lot, but all in all, Prattville has buildings, Montgomery has buildings, up and down the seacoast, they all have buildings, but I think really what makes Prattville different is its people, and I think is if we can get that pulled together, we can definitely overcome the obstacles that we have in front of us. And with the help between the council and myself and the people behind me, I know we can do that. So I do want to say, let's move forward, gentlemen, and I look to good seasons ahead of us. Now I'm going to get back on track to some of my items I did also want to talk about is that recently, and I think one of the reasons why we're also seeing a economic impact a lot lighter than probably the nation as a whole is because of some of the amenities that we do have to offer. One of them was Robert Trent Golf Course, and also some of the hotels that we have out there. Because just recently, our hotels were full with the help of two different groups coming into town. One of them being the AFL-CIO state meeting, and the other was the Western Senior Golf Association. That group threw me a little bit of a curve. I could never quite figure that group out, because they were from one of our northern states in Indiana, and how they came up with the name of the Western Senior Golf Association. But fortunately, they were able to help fill the rooms up. I checked that night, that week, and we had full occupancy. And so events like that is one way that if we keep looking for the quality of life and working for the public safety, just the whole picture, look at the big picture, we can keep our revenues coming in. You know, over the last 9 months, we have come a very, very long way. We have reduced our expenditures. We have brought reports up here that have proved that. We have also made some very tough decisions. I think we've made some adult decisions with adult information, and one of that was the sewer charge increase, where I hated to do that, but we knew that department had been running approximately $1 million a year in the red. But because we stood up here and we made the adult decisions, that department now is very, very close to having our reports back, and I believe Councilor Argo will be calling a work session on that, I hope, the very near future, so that way we can get that leg of that department behind us and we can move forward with that. But it's some of those tough decisions that we've had to make in the last 9 months that I think has really gotten us a lot better off than we were a year and a half ago. Councilman Strickland made some remarks up here. I'm sorry, let me back up on that. Councilman Strickland reported some numbers up here where we have quite a bit of debt on the books, and I totally agree. There is quite a bit of debt on the books, but we have a lot less debt now than we did 9 months ago. Some of that was one portion of that scenario was because that we did have to do a furlough, which did put some of the burden on the backs of the city employees. But that, I regrettably say, was one of the solutions to get us to the point of where we are. The 1 cent sales tax was another tough decision for us because I'm certain you guys are like I am. I am very anti-tax. I know my father, who sat up here for 2 full terms, if he knew that at that point in time I had stood up here, like I will be later on as we start discussing the extension of the 1 penny, for me to stand up here and say, give me a tax, there's no telling what he would have said to me. But it was adult information, it was adult decision. And I know we made it together, and I'm certain we will make it again, and hopefully we'll be making the right decision on that. But that 1 penny sales tax is something we've got to have for us to move forward with the city and the economy that we're in. And I've had some naysayers who have come to me ahead of this, before we pass the 1 penny, says, don't do it, you're going to kill our economy. And now I have them come back and telling me, well, it wasn't the impact that they thought. They thought that it was going to just absolutely kill us. They're telling me to now talk to the council, have them leave it on just as long as we need it. And that's what I hope we'll be doing at the appropriate time. As I move on along, I do want to thank the HR department, because recently we had our wellness and benefit fair that the dedicated workers in HR were able to pull that together. I know there's Sylvia Coleman, Jay Cloborn, Lisa Thrash, and I hate to say I don't. How's that? Carol Eastman. Thank you. She's going to shoot me tomorrow, but anyway, just having one of my senior moments up here, I guess. But because of them pulling all that together, we have actually seen a decrease in our health insurance. And that is one thing that if we keep doing minor items like that, there's been no real big major impact on our services. And I know HR is still working on several other insurance policies that we believe that we'll be able to find some more cuts in. As we move forward with that, we will definitely see some more savings there. So I truly want to thank the HR department on that. Moving on along with our candy walk, we had it Friday. It was a great little turnout on it. The inclement weather that we had on it actually hurt our movies under the stars, but everybody was out there, had a very good time, and I know Kelly Cook can pull it off again. Some of these special events that actually help bring quality of life for us, and hopefully the next movie under the stars won't be movie under the clouds like we had Friday night, but while we were there, I think everybody had a very, very good time. And on that, I do need to give special thanks to Patrick White, because he was able to loan us the equipment to have that movie under the stars, and so he was able to handle that for us. PDU, Prattville Downtown Unlimited, helped us out also on the cost of it, so it's pretty much zero cost to the city of Prattville on that. Also, over the weekend, we had our Fish Fest. It went very, very, very well. We had young ones of all ages who were there. The state wildlife and freshwater fisheries were able to come in and stock the pond for us. And there again, just know one of the quality of life programs that we have. And because of these quality of life programs, that is one of the items, one of the reasons why people are brought here to Prattville. Police and fire department, another reason why people are brought here to Prattville, because they know that they're safe, they know they're protected. The fire department, their role has changed quite a bit over the years. Years ago, it's pretty much pull a hose, put out a fire. We have very, very few fires now. I think their biggest role nowadays is EMTs and so forth. I know recently my wife's aunt, they had to call out the paramedics to her house, and I did. It's a very emotional time, and whenever you have a loved one who is eventually going to be passing away, but they came out and made the family feel very, very welcome and serene, that they knew that she was being taken care of the best that they can. So I do want to thank them on that. I also need to bring to everybody's attention that since September, through their attrition, our personnel costs our annual personnel costs will be down approximately $469,451.97. Today, as we stand, we actually have 298 FTEs, or full-time employees. I also have some charts around over here that show some different departments showing how we have had some reorganization since January, and that might be one of the areas that we need to discuss a little bit closer in our work session, and that might be one of the areas that seems to be a little bit of confusion in that we have not had a full 12-month history for each and every department for us to get true and accurate figures with. As everybody sitting up here remembers, is that we had multiple departments cutting grass. We cut those departments down and gave them specific areas to manage. We took those employees, put them up under urban management, and so that way they can cut the vast bulk of our grass cutting and tree trimming and everything that falls up underneath urban management. But that department, I think, alone, since their reorganization, has definitely pulled its weight, has paid for the move, and I see a lot of great savings in that as we move forward, especially if my plans come to fruition with the enterprise funds, or my shoe boxes that I keep talking about. Because if we keep moving forward with that and utilizing the theory that each department should cover its cost, and then if each department should cover its cost if it has a revenue source on it. Other departments, for example, HR, they do not have a true revenue source, but as they do service wastewater, for example, they should be compensated out of that shoebox for their services. And so I think if we really start moving in that direction, looking at it more as a business transaction instead of just a normal day-to-day activity that we do without getting paid, then I think that we can truly move forward with this and have the city back on financial footing in just a year or so. Also, I need to go ahead and move right on along and talk about the work session on the budget. So whenever you're ready to talk about it, I am. Hopefully the Tuesday week, I think, is what I've been hearing, is that we're going to have on it. So whenever we are, I hope we'll be able to have it in an area that we can have it recorded and publicized in, because I think there's quite a bit of interest in this budget. Just a reminder also that the city clerk school starts November the 29th and goes through the December the 2nd. I look forward to working with the council on replacement for that position. And as we all know, we do have elections coming up in the very near future, and so that is definitely something the city clerk and assistant city clerk needs to make. And if we do not have a budget passed, we need to make certain we have appropriate dollars available for that department. I hope in the near future also to pull together a committee of citizens and city employees to evaluate our recycling center. I value this center, and we provide a great service to our community there with it, but I truly feel that there's something missing in it. It's costing us somewhere between $10,000 to $15,000 a year to offer that service, and I really feel that if we can get everybody who's truly interested in recycling, we can step this service up, provide a better product to our consumer, but then also reduce the expenses on that. My wife and I utilize that recycling center every weekend that we can, but the cost on it does need to be kept to a very, very minimum. And the $10,000 to $15,000 that we're paying on it right now, I don't believe that it's a good cost to expenses ratio on there. So that is something that I will be pulling together soon, and I hope that the council can participate in that program, and because that's another area that if we make certain that we have all of our departments running just as lean as they can, but then also make certain that we're pulling together as many increasing our revenue just the best that we can. And I still have quite a few more thoughts on that over the next year that I know I'll be here. Who knows after that? But I do see that we have quite a few more opportunities to improve our revenue streams. We still have a few more opportunities to reduce our expenses. And I have a short list here that I'll be glad to share with everybody at our next at our next work session if they have the time for that. I'm going to go ahead and shorten this on up because I know it's been a long night for everybody, and I did have quite a few more things that I wanted to talk about, but we're going to talk about that later.
Take as much time as you need, Mayor.
Do you really mean that? Do you really mean that? Well, I'm going to skip ahead of one of mine right here, and last week I spent quite a bit of time at Maxwell Air Force Base. I was over there talking to a lot of the Air Force officers who had just graduated, and they actually had some more officers coming in to do their training over there. And that is one thing I think Prattville has been very, very blessed with, is that the relationship that we have with Maxwell Air Force Base. The economic waters that the global economic waters that we have all seen has been a very, very negative impact across the world. And I think one reason why we have been able to survive them as well as we have has been because of our military presence here. And I need to remind everybody about the Military Appreciation Week. That's the week of November the 6th through the 12th. And I hope everybody takes the time to thank a serviceman or woman for what they do. I feel without them, like I said, the global hardship that everybody's seen would be hard felt here, but because of Maxwell in this area, we're blessed. I also want to thank you, Council President Mike Reniger. You're the only veteran that we have up here on the council. I know George Washington appreciated you being beside him at Valley Forge.
Thank you, Mayor. I was rowing that boat as fast as I could.
But Veterans Day is next Friday, November the 11th, which is also my wife's birthday. So you might see me out in Prattville trying to improve the economy by trying to buy her a birthday present. But I look forward to seeing everybody at the Veteran Day events. City Hall will be closed that day. No garbage will be collected. For the next meeting, I'm going to start talking about each and every one of the departments that we have. I'm going to go down a list. I'm going to try to provide more and more information about exactly what each and every one of our departments do, what they've done that week, what services they provided, what dollars they have saved for us, and so if I do miss one of them one particular night, I will be catching up with them as the meetings come around. But recently, also to bring up another subject is our 2014 area. Recently, we did a survey of our 2014 area with various department heads and also Councilman Striplin, and there's a lot of needs and concerns out there with 2014 just right around the corner, and we need to really start looking heavily at that and decide exactly what we're going to do, because if we're not, it's going to be here in the blink of an eye. There's one other thing that I sort of skipped over here. I made a list here, and recently we had a sewer line to clog up. Looked like they had a lot of grease to build up in one of the sewer lines. It was in a very difficult area for wastewater to get to, and but with the help of our street department, they were able to get in there, get the line unclogged, and it's just one of the areas, one of the ways that we have all the departments are trying to pull together, make this city as great and pleasant as it is. And but it's and I just want to thank there again all the city employees. I know they've been through quite a bit over the last year or so, and believe me, I've been through quite a bit also. I know the council's been through quite a bit. I know we don't live it, breathe it quite as well as you guys do, but and I cannot speak for the council, but it's in my blood also. So I'm here, thick or thin. I'm not moving anywhere. There's a small family business here that I'm associated with, and I've had some people here on the council call it my little Mayberry, and whenever I get through here, I'm going back to my Mayberry. I might be playing a lot more golf than ever before, but I do want to say that I'm here for Prattville, thick or thin, and at the last council meeting, I did make a recommendation that the council lower the mayor's salary, and I stand behind that. Originally, when I got on the council, it was $70,000 plus the car allowance. At the time we raised it, I made a motion to not raise it to the current amount, but make it $80,000 plus a difference in the car allowance, and I still stand by that, and hopefully the council will honor my wishes on that for the next quadrennium. But if not, whatever the amount happens to be, hopefully I'll be here collecting it.
Any questions of our mayor? Councilman Bowles?
You covered a lot. I got
I did.
lost. Sorry.
I had some more here on my notepad. I decided I done bored everybody else to tears.
I'm going to ask you a question, but I'm going to direct it towards the audience.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out tonight. It's been an hour and 20 minutes going here. We're in these nice padded chairs. Y'all are in these nice hard wooden benches. And it really means a lot to me personally to see this. Because if we were in Iraq or Russia, y'all wouldn't be here. You know? We are human. We make mistakes. And we answer for the mistakes. But in this great country, you get to let us know when we make the mistakes. Thank you for your time and for sitting out here for this long. We've probably got another 30 minutes to go. I really hope y'all stay, but I see everybody's leaving one by one. So I just want to tell you personally, thank y'all for coming out. Thank you for supporting this city. I do believe we have the greatest city in the state, and we're going to get through this. We're going to get the city out of the ditch. And we just got to start working together. Mayor, one thing you mentioned on the sales tax. I had a very wise businessman come to me after that tax. And a lot of stones were getting thrown. A lot of people were really mad when it first happened. But he said, you know what? As a good Republican, most would say you don't raise sales tax. But I say a good Republican pays his bills. Thank you for paying our bills. Mayor, thank you for leading us. Thank y'all.
Anything else for the mayor? Councilman Wood? Councilman Wood.
Just one question, Mayor. You don't have to trench. I'm not finna shoot you 2 minutes.
I got Kevlar on, so go ahead.
I know. Well, you mentioned the tax. Someone had suggested that you keep the tax as long as you needed it.
Yes, sir.
How long do you, if you can answer this, how long do you think the tax is needed?
Well, I guess...
And honestly.
That's the best policy. But I guess what I would refer back to would be my 2011 budget. If you look at the letter that went along with that budget, I had a 5-year plan, which was 3 years with a penny and 2 at a half penny. I still believe that. I guess an old saying, beggars can't be choosy, but right now I'm just begging for it to be extended through 2012 budget. I truly believe if I was standing up there, sitting up there, I would at least vote on it for it to go through the 2013 budget. But the purse strings are yours. I'm just waiting on marching orders.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. And that's very similar to what you said before. And that's also in line with what I propose also. But when my comment time come around, I'll speak further then. Thank you for the job that you're doing. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Which I guess one thing I do want to say also is that, and this might be inappropriate, so you might get ready to hammer me down. I truly believe the budget I have presented is a good budget. I think that through attrition, we can get the personnel numbers where we need them to be. But I have been preaching up here, and not a very good preacher, but I've been preaching up here that we are a service-oriented company, service-oriented business. Our job is to provide services. I do not know of a service-oriented business that can provide that service without personnel. That's all I have to say.
Anything else from the mayor? Well, I have something to say to you. I was going to wait, but there's a very important person in your life in our audience, and you haven't introduced the First Lady of Prattville. Ms. Stephanie Gillespie is here with us. Stephanie, stand up, please. Stand up, stand up.
And I apologize. I did not even realize she was here. Would anybody like for me to sing happy birthday?
Go right ahead. We'll wait for you. Councilman Bank.
And I'll just say this to you, Mayor, as a friend, and I hope I'm not outing you, Stephanie, but you might not have to worry about her birthday present, because when I came to the meeting, she was down at Paravicini, so she may already have it covered for you. You might want to check.
Yeah, I think she's been trying to repair the economy all by herself. But anyway, we've been married 31 years. I thank goodness your microphone's off. But no, we've been married 31 years. I do love her.
I said, God bless you, Stephanie.
And I'm actually surprised she's down here because she does not like to see her husband beat up sometimes. But I truly enjoy working with you guys, and thank you for your tolerance and your patience.
Thank you, Mayor. We will get into our reports from the council on special committees. Councilman Striplin.
One brief update. Following up on the mayor's comments, the wastewater committee met last Friday morning with representatives of Goodwin Mills and Kaywood and Jackson Thornton Utilities, and Rick Teague is the department head. Tentative budget for this enterprise fund for the next 3 years was presented. Jackson Thornton is waiting on some additional confirmation of data from the Water Board to finalize their recommendations, and we look forward to getting this information so the recommendations can be presented to the council and to our citizens. Thank you.
Councilman Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a brief follow-up on some of the stuff that the Finance Committee talked about. First of all, again, let me just echo what has been said about this being a great country to live in. You know, this level of government right here, the City Council, is this the level where you can get your hands on, and that's great. Not any other government you can get that. You see each other in church, go to school with them, so you can touch us in all kind of ways and tell us what you want to tell us, and I appreciate that. I'm speaking only for me. Someone stated tonight that political games were being played. Gentlemen, ladies, I'm not here to play political games. I've been here since 1988, thanks to the good Lord. I haven't played political games, and I'm not playing any now. One of the things that transpired during my tenure here, we put a 3-phase financial plan in place. Did the administration first, did public safety first, we did public works, and we did the administration, bringing all of the citizens and employees, all of the employees up to comparable salaries around the city. I supported that. I worked to pass every budget since 1988, having attempted to reduce staff. One of the main players up here now working hard on this Finance Committee not to reduce staff. I worked hard to work with every other department. One of the main reasons, and thank you, Councilman Striplin, for what you have done, and we all know that there's room for the re-looking at this and compromise. But one of the main reasons that this was brought about, some of you all, even in the audience, and maybe some up here, the very first thing that came out of some of you all's mouth was, you need to cut some more. Well, you can't have it both ways. And what we're trying to do is figure out a way to cut and increase revenue at the same time and not cut employees. That's all this package is about. So as the word got out on the street immediately that we're going to cut 15, 20 employees, that's just somebody running wild with something. But that's what people do. But this is happening everywhere. I got right here with me the Nation Cities Weekly that we get as a council person. Nation Cities Weekly are cutting personnel and infrastructure projects as the economy downturn continues up to 72%. We're nowhere near trying to do anything like that. We're trying to keep the city safe. And as I said, this is just one person speaking. We're trying to keep the city safe. I've worked with the mayor, I think I have.
will continue to work with him and all of the staff here. Thank each of you all for what you do, but this is not a political game with me. Thank you very much.
Councilman Miller.
Just a few brief comments. I do appreciate and echo some of the comments Councilman Wood made and Councilman Bowles made, but this to me is really a positive experience to see folks come out and talk about things and support those. If you didn't talk but you supported people who did, in terms of speaking to the council and telling us what's on your minds and your hearts. And I do appreciate that, and I appreciate each and every one of you that makes the city run on a day-to-day basis. And I'll share my own personal experience with our fire medics. I think you'll remember 3 years ago, and it was the weekend before we were getting sworn in for this current term. And I had my first, I'll call it near-death experience. It's the first time I've been really with any significant illness in my life. I had a GI bleed, and I was bleeding out, and I passed out at home about 1 or 2 in the morning. And my wife called 911, and the crew came out, and the professionalism and the attention and everything, and I ended up, going to the hospital. Spent a couple of days in the ICU, got 6 units of blood, unfortunately recovered from that, but it was a very traumatic experience. But the experience with our Prattville Fire Department, and particularly those fire medics that came to my house, was very positive. And I sort of, I look at things maybe a little bit differently as a physician than perhaps the ordinary citizen does. And I mean, on every checklist, it was a 10, if not higher, on a scale of 1 to 10. So I think that it's appropriate to again take this opportunity to say thank you for that, even though it was 3 years ago. So thank you.
Councilman Bowes.
No thanks. I've already said my piece.
Councilman Fink. Okay. The Finance Committee obviously had numerous meetings trying to put together our proposal. The mayor did his job along with his staff, and kudos to all of you for that. The Finance Committee has done their job. The mayor said, this is what we need. The Finance Committee says, this is what we can afford. Now the mayor and the council as a whole will sit down next Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, here in this chambers, and we'll see what we can put together and pass. I'm sure that there will be consensus. There will be adjustments. This budget, before it's passed, is fluid, and after it's passed, it's fluid. As money is available, things will be allocated to increase personnel, to buy police cars, to enhance the condition and replace turnout gear. None of us want to see anybody lose their job. You can take that to the bank. None of us want anybody to lose their job. We'll do what we can to keep you employed. That being said, we'll move into the agenda. Item number 1 is a resolution to authorize the issuance, execution, sale, and delivery of $1.5 million, principal amount, general obligation, note of the City of Prattville and payment thereof. This was held from our October the 18th meeting. Is there any further discussion on this particular resolution? Councilman Fang.
Yes, I would just advise the council that upon legal counsel, we need to just vote this down since we already addressed this at the meeting yesterday. And this was just a holdover and merely housekeeping efforts. So thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of adopting this resolution signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? This resolution fails unanimously. The next item is a resolution to reappoint Mr. James H. Sanford to the Legends Park Improvement Board. Mr. Fank, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas a vacancy currently exists on the Legends Park Improvement Board due to the term expiration of James H. Sanford on August 26, 2011, and whereas it is the desire of the City Council of the City of Prattville to fill that vacancy to ensure the continuity of the board's operation. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama, that James H. Sanford is hereby reappointed to fill the vacancy effective immediately, and said term will expire on August 26, 2014, or until his successor is duly qualified and appointed. Mr. President, I so move.
Councilman Fink has moved this resolution for adoption. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilman Strippin. Is there any discussion on this proposed resolution? All those in favor of adopting this resolution signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing no opposition, the resolution is adopted. Next item is an ordinance to amend City Code Division 2, Sales Tax Section 38-92C, imposition of certain sales and use taxes. Councilman Wood, will you introduce this ordinance, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Be it ordained that the City Code Division 2, Sales Tax Section 38-92C is hereby amended as follows. Section 38-92C, imposition of limited duration tax. In addition to the taxes set forth in 38-91 and Section 38-92A and B, there shall be an additional 1% tax levied under Sections 38-91, 1, 2, and 6, commencing on the first day of May 2011 and ending on the 30th day of September 2012. A, that the tax collected under this Section 38-92C after deduction for expenses of collection shall be expended only for existing debt service of the City of Prattville. So move.
Mr. Wood has moved this ordinance. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Fink. By point of order, this will carry over to our next regularly scheduled meeting unless there is a suspension of the rules motion. Seeing none, this ordinance will carry over to our next meeting, which will be November the 15th. Our next item is a resolution to adopt the City of Prattville fiscal year 2011-2012 general operating fund budget. Councilman Miller, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama as follows, that for the purpose of financing the conduct of affairs of the City of Prattville, Alabama during the period October 1, 2011 and ending September 30th, 2012, inclusive, the general fund operating budget for the city's revenues and expenditures for such period as prepared and submitted to the council by the mayor as attached, be and the same is hereby approved and adopted as the official fiscal year 2012 budget for the City of Prattville, Alabama, which totals $38,123,341. Be it further resolved that all monies expended October 1, 2011 to date prior to the adoption of this budget are hereby ratified and affirmed. Mr. President, I so move.
Councilman Miller has moved this resolution for adoption. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Fink. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Any discussion?
Mr. President, I move that this be held.
Motion is made by Councilman Wood that we hold this. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Fink. All those in favor of holding this resolution until our next regularly scheduled meeting signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, this resolution is held until November the 15th. Next item is a resolution to authorize the release of funds in an amount not to exceed $1,882 to purchase jerseys from F&E Sportswear for the City of Prattville All-Star Soccer teams. Mr. Strippin, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Prattville All-Star Soccer teams will represent the City of Prattville at the district tournament on November the 5th, 2011, and state tournament on November 19th, 20th of 2011, and whereas the Department of Leisure Services of the City of Prattville provides the jerseys to the City of Prattville All-Star Soccer teams. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in an amount not to exceed $1,882 are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to F&E Sportswear for jerseys for the City of Prattville All-Star Soccer team, and such payment is to be made from the general fund. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Striplin has moved the adoption of this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bowes. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Councilman Striplin.
It's my understanding that we've already received the money for this, and the tournament is the 5th, and so if you gentlemen are so inclined to suspend the rules and allow the jerseys to be purchased for the game, it would be greatly appreciated.
Are you moving for a suspension, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Striplin, second by Councilman Miller. Is there any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules? All those in favor of suspending the rules signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, the rules are suspended. This item is properly before us. Is there any other discussion about this resolution? All those in favor of adopting this resolution signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, resolution is approved. 7-0. Okay. Next item is six. Who was that? Oh, 6-0. That's right. Next item is a resolution to authorize the mayor to submit an application for the City of Prattville to register for the 2012 Municipal Quality of Life Award. Councilman Bowes, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the deadline to submit the application to the 2012 Municipal Quality of Life Award is November the 4th, 2011, and whereas it is no registration fee, and whereas the 3 winning entries will enjoy statewide recognition at the Alabama League of Municipalities 2012 Annual Conference, and whereas each winning municipality will be featured in a video shown at the League of Municipalities 2012 Conference, receive a special design plaque, be spotlighted to the League's website, www.alm.org, be featured in Alabama Municipal Journal. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby authorizes the mayor to submit the application to the cities of Prattville to register for the 2012 Municipality Quality of Life Award. I so move.
Councilman Bowes has moved for adoption of this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Woods. Is there any discussion on this proposed resolution? Any discussion? Councilman Miller.
I guess for the mayor, is it a requirement that the council actually endorse this, or is that just a good additional thing to submit with the application?
No, it's stated right on the application. It has to be council approval.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? All those in favor of adopting this resolution signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, passes 6-0. Next item is a resolution to authorize the release of funds in an amount not to exceed $360 to lease portalettes for the Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs for the month of November. Councilman Fink, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the Prattville High School football team is qualified for the Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs again this year, and whereas the first Prattville High School playoff game is on November 4th, 2011, and whereas depending on the outcome of that game, there may be numerous playoff games held at Stanley Jensen Stadium during the month of November. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in an amount not to exceed $360 to lease portalettes for the Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs for the month of November are hereby appropriated, and funds are to be paid from the general fund. Mr. President, I so move.
Councilman Fink has moved this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bowes. Is there any discussion pertaining to this resolution? Councilman Fink.
Yes, I would ask that the council actually vote this down. The high school is actually going to pick up the tab on this. So they're going to pay this and lease the portalettes and have them down there.
Actually, we will need a suspension of the rules since this is encumbering funds and we have no budget. But we'll
I'd make a
certainly-
motion to suspend the rules.
Okay. Councilman Fink has moved that we suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. Any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules? Did you have a question, Councilman Miller? Oh, okay. All those in favor of suspending the rules on this item, raise your right hand, please. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, the rules are suspended and this item is properly before us. Now, Councilman Fink.
My same comments from before. I would recommend that we vote this down. The high school is going to pick up, or Board of Education is going to pick up the tab on this.
Okay. Any further comments? All those in favor of adopting this resolution signify by raising your right hand. If you're in favor of it, raise your right hand. Any anyone opposed, raise your right hand now. Okay. Fails 06. Gentlemen, keep up now. Next resolution, or next item, is a resolution to authorize overtime pay in an amount not to exceed $479.48 per playoff game for the Prattville Fire Department to provide EMS coverage for Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs for the month of November. Councilman Fink, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the Prattville High School football team has qualified for the Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs again this year, and whereas the first Prattville High School playoff game is on November 4th, 2011, and whereas depending on the outcome of that game, there may be numerous playoff games held at Stanley Jensen Stadium during the month of November, and whereas funds are needed to provide overtime pay for 1 medic supervisor and 3 medics to provide EMS coverage for the playoffs, and whereas the approximate overtime cost will be $479.48 to include FICA, workman's compensation, and retirement per playoff game. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in an amount not to exceed $479.48 per playoff game are hereby authorized and approved, and said funds are to be made available from the general fund, but shall be reimbursed by Prattville High School from the gate receipts after each applicable game. Mr. President, I so move.
Councilman Fink has moved for adoption of this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bowes. By point of order, this will carry over unless there is a move to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Councilman Fink has moved for the suspension of the rules. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Woods. Any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules? All those in favor of suspending the rules, raise your right hand, please. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, the rules are suspended and this item is properly before us. Is there any further discussion about this resolution? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, the resolution is adopted. 6-0. Okay. Next item is a resolution to authorize overtime payment in an amount not to exceed $205.37 for the Prattville Fire Department for training required by the National Fire Protection Association. Councilman Miller, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Whereas there is a class furnished by North Alabama Fire Equipment Company, parentheses, NAFE-CO NAFCO, close parentheses, and conducted by Line Apparel, manufacturer of turnouts, on November 9th, 2011, from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m., and whereas firefighter personal protective turnout gear must be tested according to the guidelines set forth by the National Fire Protection Association, and whereas funds are needed to provide overtime pay to the 2 employees attending the required training, and whereas the approximate overtime cost will be $205.37 to include FICA, workman's compensation, and retirement for required training. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in an amount not to exceed $205.37 for required training are hereby authorized and approved, and said funds are to be made available from the general fund. Mr. President, I so move.
Councilman Miller has moved for adoption of this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Strickland. Is there any discussion pertaining to this resolution? By point of order, this will carry over unless there's a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bowes, seconded by Councilman Miller. Oh, Fink, okay. Moved by Councilman Fink and seconded by Councilman Miller. Is there any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, the rules are suspended and this resolution is properly before us. Any other discussion on this proposed resolution? All those in favor of adopting this resolution signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, this resolution is adopted 6-0. Last item on the agenda is a resolution to authorize overtime payment in an amount not to exceed $8,980.64 for the Prattville Police Department for Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs for the month of November and Biblical Walk. Councilman Fink, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the Prattville High School football team has qualified for the Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs again this year, and whereas the first Prattville High School playoff game is on November 4th, 2011, and whereas depending on the outcome of that game, there may be numerous playoff games held at Stanley Jensen Stadium during the month of November. And whereas the Biblical Walk, sponsored by Tim Bird and Steve Holland, will be held on November 12th, 2011. And whereas funds are needed to provide overtime pay for police officers to cover the walk route and intersections and to provide traffic control and security. And whereas the approximate overtime cost will be $4,500 to include FICA, workman's compensation, and retirement per playoff game. And whereas the approximate overtime cost will be $200 to include FICA, workman's compensation, and retirement for Bible Walk. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in an amount not to exceed $200 for the Bible Walk and $4,500 per playoff game are hereby authorized and approved, and said funds are to be made available from the general fund, but shall be reimbursed by Prattville High School from the gate receipts after each applicable game. Mr. President, I so move.
Councilman Fink has moved for adoption of this resolution. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Striplin. By point of order, this will carry over unless there is a move to suspend the rules. Motion to suspend the rules is made by Councilman Bowes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Wood. Is there any discussion about the motion to suspend the rules? All those in favor of suspending the rules on this resolution signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, the rules are suspended and the resolution is properly before us. Is there any discussion on this proposed resolution? All those in favor of adopting this resolution signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, the resolution is adopted 6-0. Is there another item to come from the floor at this time? That exhausts our agenda items. We will open the floor up now for public comment on any item. Is there anyone here that would like to address the City Council on any business item? Just raise your hand. Mr. Brandt. See, that microphone's laying down. You might want to pick it up, Lonnie. There you go.
Lonnie Brand, 258 Terry Lane.
Mr. Brandt.
Just a general question.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about a working meeting next Tuesday.
Work session, yes, sir.
Will there be any documentation available to the public prior to that meeting?
Well, what are we referring to?
Well, we've got a proposed city budget by the council, by the mayor.
Yeah.
So I was wanting to know if there was going to be any other budget issues
what we have
available
proposed,
to the public prior to the work session.
Yes, to answer your question, what we have proposed is a finance committee will be on the website.
Okay, so it'll be available prior to next Tuesday?
Yes, I'm getting a nod that it will from our webmaster.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you being here. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council on any item? See no more hands. Mr. Mayor? You have some closing comments?
Yes, sir. It's been a marathon night tonight, and so I left out a couple of items during my report up there, but one thing I wanted to talk about was November the 10th. Drew Peterson in Leisure Services Department is having a dribble-a-thon starting up here at the Exxon station front grassy area up there at 10 o'clock. Anybody wants to come up and participate in that. Whenever he talked to me about that and talking about dribble-a-thon, I thought he was talking about golf or something. I didn't realize it was basketball, but it's to help promote the Prattville Basketball League, City of Prattville League on that. So if you see a crew up there, some of them maybe be sleepy or tired or drinking a lot of coffee, it would probably be Drew Peterson and his crew up there. One other thing, too, I wanted to talk about a little bit more on the serious side is that we've been having quite a few applications for parades and fun runs, and there's quite a bit of overtime whenever we do have those. A lot of that type of stuff really is what really makes Prattville. A lot of good charitable events. Some of them are church related, some of them are just youth related, various type of organizations, but it adds up quite a bit in our budget. And I think that, I've spoke about this before, and look like ever since I've gotten on here, I've always been big about pulling committees together. And I really believe that this is probably one area that a committee of some shape, form, or fashion should be looking at this a lot closer. Because when it's probably somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 of your police budget, that unless I have a mechanism to say no, it's going to just continue to increase, and it is at no fault of the police department that trying to pull a budget together, trying to work within that budget, and unless we have some way of recuperating some of these, or really some kind of true policy on how we can control the routes and stuff like that, I think it's something that we really need to look closer into. I think that it's something we need to pull a committee together on, pull the various organizations that are organizing this. It's something that I really truly believe that they're just not aware of. They do not realize the impact that it's really having. And I do applaud them for getting out here and raising money for various organizations or for church groups going overseas to see the Holy Land, but various very good reasons, very charitable reasons. But it is something that I think that we truly need to look at through a committee, pull all the community activists together, and at least to see what kind of what we can resolve from this. But it is a pretty big part of our budget that we need to truly look at. Besides that, I hope I do see everybody out at the Veterans Day activities that we have, and I guess one more time we'll say happy birthday to my wife since she's here, or was here.
Councilman Striplin, any closing comments?
Just one briefly. Again, thanks to all the city personnel for all that they do, and they make a difference here in Prattville. Thank you.
Councilman Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mel, if I can, just let me make a suggestion, because I've seen that list of all those different items, and you should be able to get at least 10 people. There's probably 20 or 30 different walks and runs on that list, so I would encourage you to move forward, with forming that committee off of that list. Thank you.
Can I get you on that list?
Councilman Miller?
No, thank you.
Councilman Bowes?
No, thank you.
Councilman Fank?
No, thank you.
Once again, I'll remind you that we do have a work session scheduled for Tuesday, November the 8th, 6 p.m., right here in the council chambers. It will be not televised, but it will be videoed with sound, so you can observe it on the website in case you're unable to be here with us that evening. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is Tuesday, November the 15th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. This time the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilman